Longlegs has been everywhere. The marketing team has created a feeding frenzy of people needing to see this movie, and I was no exception. But does the film hold up to the marketing? Is it as good as we had hoped? Let's get into it. Welcome back, I'm Sippin Ice, and I just left the theater after having watched the highly anticipated movie Longlegs. Today, I will give you the answer to that question. Did Longlegs deserve the hype? The movie is written and directed by Osgood Perkins, and it stars Macon Monroe as an FBI agent hunting the man known as Longlegs, who is played by the legendary Nicolas Cage. As the opening weekend slowly wraps up, Longlegs has made an insane amount of money. Here's some context for you on just how much. Sydney Sweeney's Immaculate previously set Neon's opening weekend record with $5.3 million in March. But, according to Deadline's estimate, Longlegs is currently on track to quadruple that number and close out its opening weekend with a total between $20 million and $23 million, after having a budget of around $10 million. This video will contain heavy spoilers, so just be aware of that, and it has some heavy themes, so viewer discretion is also advised. But with that out of the way, let's get on into it. The movie opens up to a house in the snow. A car parks in their driveway, and a little girl with her Polaroid camera hears them, and they proceed to go investigate. There's no one in this car. We then hear the creepiest shit ever, and I won't lie, I got actual goosebumps from hearing this, but someone just makes that cuckoo sound, signaling the girl to turn around. We see someone dip behind the house. We don't yet know who it is, but then we get a shot of the girl in the backyard when she is approached by someone. This is where we kinda get our first look at Nicolas Cage as Longlegs. He's tall and extremely pale. He talks to the little girl in the creepiest voice ever about her birthday coming up. Your birthday is coming up, you know, that kind of stuff. I can't do the voice, but you get me. Birthdays play a huge role in this film, as we will come to see, because many of the victims are prepping to celebrate their birthdays. Eventually, he mentions he was wearing his long legs and drops down, scaring the audience as the opening cuts to the title sequence. Those opening minutes are some of the best filmmaking I've seen in a while. From the cinematography to the pacing, and then the aspect ratio. Starting out, the aspect ratio was 4:3, but as the opening sequence ended and we head into the rest of the film, the aspect ratio increases to its standard 16:9. Very nice and well done. It gave the sense of being old without having to physically tell us whether or not it was a flashback or not. We open back up to a cold January in 1990s Oregon. The movie is broken up into 3 parts. This is part 1. FBI agent Lee Harker is working on a case with her partner Agent Fisk. She has some sort of inexplicable intuition that tells her the correct house. Not truly trusting her notion, Fisk decides to knock on the door, which is when he gets eliminated. Bro jump scared me by getting blasted in the forehead quicker than I can Google how to spell onomatopoeia. Afterwards, she has to run some tests, and through testing, she is theorized to have some sort of possible clairvoyance. As a result, she is assigned to a decade-spanning case of a series of brutal murder, self-eliminates, you know I can't say that word, involving families throughout the state of Oregon. Each incident had the father murder his wife and children before taking their own life. And left at each crime scene is a letter with cryptic satanic coding that is signed Longlegs at the bottom. Despite there being no sign of anyone breaking and entering, forensically or not, the letters never match the handwriting of the victims, so someone's leaving the letters. Eventually, Harker goes with the boss Carter to explain some theories she has been cooking up, and after hours they decide to call it a night. But not before they realize Harker has to drive Carter home due to him being a little drunk, which is when we meet his wife and his daughter Ruby, who invites Harker to her upcoming birthday party. Later, as she is investigating, Lee connects similarities between the families. Each one had at least one 9-year-old daughter born on the 14th of the month, and the murders all occurred within 6 days before or after the birthdays. When written out on a linear calendar, the dates of the murders form an inverted triangle, which is used as an occult symbol, with one date missing to complete the shape. Using this clue, Lee Harker and her commanding officer, Agent Carter, head to an old farmhouse, site of one of the previous crime scenes. As they arrive there, they see tons of X's, and as you know, X marks the spot, so they follow those X's, which then leads them to a large open room. They find a cross laying on top of some wooden floorboards. So after prying them up, they discover a piece of paper with a smiley face on it. But under that, they find a doll. They then take the doll to get analyzed. It was discovered to have some strange metal ball inside its head, being dubbed the brain by the scientist. Lee sees violent psychic flashes when they interact with it by dragging some sort of device against it, and the examiner assisting them even admits that he thought he heard his ex-wife's name while near the doll. Despite Carter's skepticism, Lee theorizes that each family received a similar doll from Longlegs, and he has been infusing the orbs within each doll with some sort of evil energy that could possess and influence those near it. Which, can you blame the skepticism? Like, yeah, from the outside looking in, she's onto something, she's hit the nail on the head, but imagine you're there, in that world. Would that be something you would just believe hearing for the first time?
Why are you boring me? I'm right.
Throughout the film, Harker has been calling her mom and talking about how her job is going and when she plans on visiting. I didn't mention this earlier, but one of those times involved someone leading Harker outside while they snuck in. In one of the most nerve-shattering scenes, we see Harker turn around as a figure walks into their room. Harker rushes back, but only to find a letter there that says not to open until the 14th of the month. But she ignored that immediately. The letter was a birthday card with more ciphers on it, which is what eventually aided Harker into cracking more of the case. But back to her calls. Harker tells her mother that it looks like she won't be able to go and see her as the case is picking up speed. But luckily for her mom, Agent Carter has noticed some connections with this case and Harker's past. So he sends her home hoping to find some answers as to Longlegs' identity. So, Agent Lee Harker heads home. Upon arriving to her mother's home, we see it looks similar to the house that we have seen before. Harker talks with her mother, asking if she remembers the man that goes by Longlegs. Her mother claims she doesn't, but there's something she's not telling us. So she decides to start snooping on her own. Lee finds a chest in her childhood bedroom containing a stack of Polaroids. Among them is a picture of the pale-faced man, revealing her to be the girl from the introduction. That's one twist down. This one didn't catch me off surprise so much as the house from the opening is the same one her mother still lives in. What did catch me and my buddy off guard though was when she opened the chest. Flashes of the man in her past start crashing down on us and unexpectedly causing us both to jump. And then laughing because we admitted that it got us pretty good. Now, knowing that she was visited by Longlegs, she submits the picture, allowing the FBI to track him down and arrest him. If you didn't already find Longlegs creepy, you will now, as Nicolas Cage killed this scene and demolished this role. Macon Monroe also plays off him in this next scene very well. All the FBI agents working the case are sitting in this big room, and they are watching a tape of Longlegs, who is locked in a room just downstairs. Pro is singing happy birthday as creepily as he can. He expresses his desires to see Agent Lee Harker, so she goes to talk to him in hopes of learning more. He tells her he serves the man downstairs. Who is that? Who is the man downstairs? He tells Harker to question her mother's involvement in his crimes, and then he catches the entire theater off guard, by the way. In a surprising moment, he mutters, "Hail Satan," to himself. Before Harker can react, Longlegs begins violently bashing his face into the table, causing Harker to back away in pure fear and terror as he sinks forward dead. Detectives then swarm the room and Carter angrily confronts Harker about her involvement. Honestly though, top 3 scene of the movie, and it's not number 3. After gaining her composure and wanting to confront her mother about her connection to Longlegs, Lee drives to her house with fellow FBI agent Browning. Lee proceeds inside while Browning stays in the car waiting for Lee to return. While Lee searches for her mother, she makes it to her room. From her bedroom window inside, Lee witnesses her mother murder Browning with a shotgun. She even gets that double tap treatment. Lee races outside to find her mom shooting the head off a doll resembling a young Lee from the opening sequence, which causes Lee to faint and lose consciousness. This is where the next major twist is revealed. Longlegs has another accomplice, and it's Lee's own mother. She explains how in the past, Longlegs did in fact find Lee and was planning on killing her. She was the missing piece to the puzzle. She was the date missing from the inverted triangle. Longlegs returned in the night to attack and subdue Ruth, forcing her to make a choice. Does she let her daughter be murdered as part of this ritual he does? Or does she do his bidding in order to spare her? She complies with him. She does his bidding. Longlegs has lived in the Harker house basement ever since, creating dolls he would infuse with his satanic magic to give to Ruth, who would then pose as a nun delivering a gift from the church, bringing the dolls to the families in order to cause the deaths of the entire family. Lee had her own doll created that has been guiding her with the satanic influence of Longlegs all the way back since her childhood, which is how she had that sixth sense of sorts. She awakes in her basement and hears a phone ringing. She answers the phone and hears how she is late to Ruby's birthday party. Realizing they are the next victims in this sick ritual, she rushes to Carter's home, only to discover it's too late. Her mom has delivered the doll, causing the family to be possessed. Carter takes his wife into the kitchen and kills her off screen. After Carter murders his wife, Lee shoots and kills Carter to protect Ruby as he was heading to her next. Ruth then brandishes a dagger and prays to Satan as Lee is forced to end her own mother as well. She raises her aim to the doll, but is unable to shoot it as she's out of ammo. She tells Ruby they need to leave, but is unable to. They remain frozen in place. The film ends going back to the interrogation room where we see Longlegs. Longlegs praises Satan before blowing a kiss to the audience. Longlegs was filled with dark twists and angles many wouldn't have expected, and I'm no exception. While some things I started picking up on, like Harker being the kid from the intro, I didn't though pick up on that her mom would be revealed to be the accomplice during many of these heinous acts. Macon Monroe was the star of the show, and it showed. I enjoyed her in It Follows, but I love her in this. Her acting was phenomenal, and the same could be said for my man Nicolas Cage. From the jump, I have been saying how I believe this is a role he could dominate, as he is perfect for those crazy and wild roles. These two actors have an incredible range, and I can't wait to see their next projects. Osgood Perkins set up a very deep and very rich atmosphere that was filled with life. I honestly had high hopes for this movie, as did many, with how amazing the marketing team was. But did it meet my expectations? To me, it 100% did. Longlegs deserved the hype. While not poop dripping down your pant like scary, and yes, you're welcome for that image, it is very creepy. The atmosphere mixed with the editing and acting makes this a must watch. Longlegs is getting an 8 out of 10. It didn't rely on jump scares to get the audience, and while it has a few, they are deserving ones. They aren't there without a purpose. If for some reason you have made it this far without checking out this movie, finish this up and then get out there and experience an amazing horror film. But this has been my review of Longlegs. Do you agree with me? Let me know. And by the way, if you like other demon movies, then check out my review of The Wailing by clicking here. As always, I appreciate your time. Stay chill, and I will see you next time.
'Cause let's face it, baby, these days, you gotta have a sequel.